Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Dermot. Good morning, Marie. Good morning, Michelle, Shane, Pauline. Hello, Sharon and Tricia. Great to see you all joining us here this morning. We're just going to allow just a minute or so to let everyone come online. We have over 100 attendees today, or at least have registered for today's event. Morning, John and Kerry. Morning, George and Lauren. Morning, Marion, Maliki. Great to see so many coming online here. Hello, Colette. Good morning, Claire and Damien. Good morning, Anya and Carmel. So you'll see, and I'll call it out once with everyone online, but we're going to use our chat function for anyone that's experiencing any technical challenges this morning. Please put any questions into the chat box there, and we'll use the Q&A for all other inputs there. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us. We've got attendees from right across Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland and beyond. So we're absolutely thrilled to have so many of you join us here this morning at Mid-Ulster Enterprise Week. Good morning, Orla. Good morning, Ryan. Good morning, Susan. We've got Shauna, J&K coaches there, Crocateurs. Hello. So we'll just give another moment just for some others are coming on stream now. We've got Chris at Healthy Kids. We've got companies from right across the spectrum, small and medium to very large. So and lots of professional services companies, digital marketing, engineering, professional services, further and education colleges. So absolutely a great list involved. So thank you all for taking the time out. I'm going to kick off and I'll introduce myself initially. My name is Yvonne Mitchell. I'm from Out of the Box Consulting, and I'm delighted to welcome all of you to this year's Mid-Ulster District Council's Enterprise Week 2023. Yesterday we kicked off a great session with AI and the role that it plays in business growth. And we've a whole series of business related seminars in person and online over the coming days. So if you haven't registered yet for some of the events, please do go onto the Mid-Ulster District Council website and check out the other events that are there, because there's definitely something that that appeals to everyone. So the overall theme of this week is challenge, adapt and succeed. And this particular webinar today, we're going to be focusing in a lot more on self-leadership and business resilience. I know in my business, I work with a lot of organizations in terms of their mission, their vision, their values, their strategy, their company culture, and all of that. I know how hard that is. You really have to kind of dig deep and really tap into yourself, become very self-aware of where you're at to help other organizations go on that real change journey to get them from where they are to where they really want to get to. So I think this morning's session, I hope you all find it very useful. We want to make it as practical and pragmatic as possible. We want to make it really interactive. So we want to get yourselves thinking and working through this. We're not going to have any slides or guests. We're going to do a lot of questions. So I'd encourage you to kind of get filling up that Q&A box with any questions that you have as well. As I said, we are going to use the chat forum specific for any technical challenges and any other items, your questions. We're going to use the quick Q&A box. So in terms of, let's get really started here. Have you got a pen and paper? Really, this is something I always, would say say to everyone, it's really important, you know, to encourage to write down any key points that you're actually grabbing this morning from the event, any things that really resonates with you, any kind of takeaway points that you can put into play after the event, you know, because really when we write things down, we're engaging other senses, we're engaging obviously our vision, our touch and our movements there, you know, so as well as acting as a visual reminder for us, you know, writing things down, it activates different parts of our brain that's different to typing, you know, that relate to our memory and learning there. So, you know, really I'd encourage, if you haven't got a notebook, go grab one now, you know, and if you even think about writing down your goals, and I hope all of you do that if you don't start after today, but you know, but studies have found that you're more likely to succeed by at least 33% and more by actually committing it to paper and, you know, engaging those parts of your brain, you know, for recollection there. So I've mentioned we've got a phenomenal amount of individuals and industries on board. What I want you to do is just take a few seconds. I'd like you to go on to the Q&A. I'd like you to put in just your name, your industry, and one thing that you'd like to take out of today's session. One thing that you'd like to, that's really maybe a burning question for you, that's really maybe a key challenge in your journey, and we'll try and get through as much of that today when we roll forward with our conversation there. So think about where you are on your journey as well today, whether it's as an individual in an SME, in your community, in a business, whatever forum that you're engaging with us today in. Okay, so we're just starting to see. So yep, just keep on. Sandra there has joined us. So Sandra, I think yeah, if you can just share what industry you're from and any questions you have. Can I just get everyone sort of filling in the box there? So Fergal is saying, Kiva, if you can check, Fergal's telling me that the Q&A, the chat is disabled, so maybe he can't put in comments. Okay, I'm seeing Raymond from CK International Recycling. Super, thank you for joining us, Raymond. Martina Jordan, self-employed conflict resolution consultant. This is also a great way, folks, to get your name out there as well, what it is that you do. Kerry, Enterprise Consultancy. We've got Maliki Gribben. Maliki, I think I saw you yesterday at the AI event from the FE College, so welcome. Orla Rafferty, People Strategy, HR and Coaching. Yes, Orla wants to be inspired this morning, so I'll be introducing our speaker just in one moment there, and I've no doubt you'll be absolutely inspired there. I've got Mary from Katie's Thatch Cottage Self-Catering Accommodation, Angela from Kashmir Candles, wanting to know how to do more wholesale sales, Ross McKenna, MH Fire Safety, Shanine McNichol, how to lead staff through changes. Yes, super question. Well, you know, we'll definitely get to that. Shadine and McNichol Caravans there. So many businesses going through so much change, even particularly post-pandemic. Obviously, we had to be agile through the pandemic. Now we're kind of coming out of that, and it's, you know, it's people are trying to pivot between the different environments where their staff are working hybrids, remote, in person. What do you do? So I think there's so many different things, and just general change. Change is constant. That's one sure thing we're always sure of in business. Louise from Musicality, run music class for babies right up to adults. I want to learn how to be more resilient and get back past the setbacks involved in starting a new small business. Super, Louise. Shauna, from Crocateurs, how to implement change successfully. My name is Claire. I've started a virtual assistant and called Row Assistant Virtual Services. So I think for anyone there who might be requiring that virtual assistant support, there's someone new looking motivation and inspiration. Michelle Bassett's marketing manager, interested in exploring new challenges and changes of leadership in today's climate. Sandra, Northern Health and Social Trust Coordinator, empowering partners to work collaboratively in achieving shared goals. So don't be shy, everyone. If you feel you'd like to kind of share, again, I can see some great businesses there online as it is. So one thing I would ask you all, to really think about how you are feeling today. How are you feeling on your own leadership journey, and whatever forum that is? How are you feeling about your own resilience, your personal resilience, your business resilience? And if you were to think about this in almost like a green, amber, red, green, I'm in good shape, I've got a plan, I know the direction I'm going in, I'm focused there. Just write a note in your own, on that sheet of paper in your notebook for yourself. Amber, I'm okay. I kind of know what I want to do, but I'm sort of teetering, or perhaps I'm at a crossroads in my business. I need that sort of direction, that move forward. I'm struggling to implement change in my business. Or red, look, I either haven't got a plan, or I'm in business quite a while, but I haven't got a plan to succeed and move forward, or I need help. So just for yourself, just take a moment just to take a note of that, kind of register it for yourself. And then because ultimately what we want to do is kind of the reds go to ambers, ambers to go to green. And like, we're not always going to be in a green mode, all of the time. And that's okay too. I think it's important to kind of just be kind to ourselves as well, and take note of that as well. Some other comments coming in. Raymond, how to set up a team that have a dynamic can-do mindset, who work well together to significantly grow sales. Fantastic. We'll talk about mindset. That's concept of fixed mindset versus growth mindset, and how do you, that's not just something that you just switch on. Again, that's something that's nurtured. Shawneen, yes, great to see you. Chris from Healthy Kids, and Paul Carville. You want to take Anda's insights and apply them not only to our staff, but to the 20,000 plus children we impact on a weekly basis. Wow, isn't that phenomenal? 20,000 plus. Wow, what great power you have, and what great opportunity you have, Chris and Paul. So looking really forward to talking about that a bit more today. So I'm very excited to be facilitating today's event, and I'm also really excited to introduce our main speaker today. Many of you are familiar with Enda McNulty, founder and CEO of McNulty Performance, sportsman, entrepreneur, author, leadership expert, motivational speaker, you name it. We've got it all going on here. And I think, when Enda and I have been talking, just preparing for this, Enda really wants you to kind of engage through this, and I'll be engaging with Enda very much as well, to really sort of maximize your time this morning here. Armagh man, he's talking today from the studio in Dublin. He's on the move to Carlingford. He's a lot of life changes in his own life. I think congratulations, Enda, you've just had your first baby. So I'm going to go pass it over to Enda for a moment here. I think, when we think of challenge, adapt and succeed, you've had lots of change. Congratulations, as I say. Welcome to the Middle-Ulster Enterprise Week, Enda, and we've got some great pointers already coming through, and some other questions that were submitted earlier, which I'll get to in a moment. So I'll kick off. If I can ask you, Enda, how are you feeling? You feeling a bit red, amber, green this morning?
I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm humbled that so many people showed up this morning. Thank you for showing up, folks, in your very busy business lives. Let's be honest, you've probably all got about 250 things you could choose to do today. You could go to a sales meeting, you could go to an operations meeting. If you're from, let's say, Sandvik, you could go to a CRM meeting. Maybe if you're from Core NI, you might go to a client meeting or a team meeting. So you chose to turn up to see me and Yvonne. So I'm excited, I'm nervous, and I'm humbled that you all found the time. Me and Yvonne had about an hour of preparation late last night. And by the way, a big call out to the Mid-Ulster team in terms of the work they've done for the last 90 days in preparation for this session. And basically last night we said that we wanted to make this about 4 different things, but I'm going to see who's quickest to respond in the chat box. You can write this down maybe quicker than I can call it out. 1 is we want to inspire. I'm going to ask you all to type that in. 2 is we want to make sure we give you really practical tools as you grow your business, as you grow yourselves, as Yvonne said, from a leadership point of view. 3, we want to answer loads of questions, and we're going to do that in a rapid fire way. So you're going to ask lots of questions fast, and we promise we're going to answer them fast with no ego. And number 4, we're hoping we're going to give you a little bit of a navigational pathway over the next 6 weeks as we all enter into a new 2024. And that pathway, hopefully, about leading yourself better, leading at home better, leading in your business better, or leading in your organization better. Because we believe that fundamentally we can't lead anybody else unless we're first of all leading ourselves. So before me and Yvonne even get stuck into it, we're going to have a bit of fun with you. Everybody type in, where are you from in Northern Ireland? Is it Banbridge? Is it Ballygolly? Or is it perhaps Newry? Is it Belfast? Are you up there in Ballymena? Or where are you at? Coming in from Port Glenone. Wow, very welcome, Sharon from Port Glenone. Cookstown, right off the bat, Mahara, Castle Dawson. If you support Northern Ireland, put in Northern Ireland. If you support, let's say, Tyrone, put in Tyrone. If you support Armagh, put in Armagh. And don't worry, we'll keep it very politically correct here, Yvonne. We won't be causing any upsets.
I think you might be stirring trouble. I'm a Donegal woman, and I never told you that.
Whereabouts in Donegal are you from, Yvonne?
Donegal town, and yeah.
Donegal town, love it. I see the people coming from Clabby, Tyrone, Armagh, Tyrone right throughout. But give us a bit more detail. Donna Moore, tell us exactly where you're from. What little part of Tyrone you're from? What little part of Armagh you're from? What part of Dungannon you're from? Because me and Yvonne want to know as much about you as possible. Somebody come from Waterford, thank you so much. Somebody come from Clabby, I've never heard of that name before. Clabby, where is that, Chris? Tell us, Chris, where is that? I never heard of that before. Somebody come from Leeson, Mary, thank you so much. So tell us as much as possible. There's from the Black Island Road in Dungannon, now we're getting really personal. Lavi, one of my good friends in life that owns a small business here in Dublin, in Skilla Motors, is from Lavi. And the young, he's running, believe it or not, he's running a really cool outdoor wear store, and he's from Lavi. Euroscroll in Kildress, with Anna Horish, Castle Dawson. That's lovely to hear. Malachy, thank you for joining. Malachy Gribben. My grandfather is from that part of the world, so lovely to hear the dirty folk amongst us. So tell me and Yvonne, as we get stuck into it, what's the 3 things you would love out of this session? What's the 3 key things? Is it you want some inspiration for you? Is it perhaps you'd like to know a little bit about how to motivate your team? And is it that you'd really like to understand what the key fundamentals are about scaling business? And me and Yvonne are going to bounce off each other. We had a conversation as I was driving to Carlingford last night for an hour, and we were literally bouncing off each other as we drove up the road. And Yvonne was giving me insights in terms of what she learned in Microsoft. I met her back in the day. And I give you insights from what we learned from scaling businesses, or let's say one-man bands, or one-woman bands as they aim to grow and develop their business. Increase confidence for selling. Thank you so much, Angela. Motivate staff members, implement change, grow personally and as a team. Thank you, Shauna. Much appreciated. Coming in there, how to motivate myself and how to keep organized. Prioritizing, delegating and time management, motivation and confidence, general inspiration. Yvonne, we're going to need 4 hours here. We're not going to get this covered.
I think so, Enza. We've got a busy morning, you know, it's quite solid. And you know what, there was also a great question come in a bit earlier as well. It was from Jared Gildernew. Jared's a managing partner in Gildernew and Co. Here in Dungannon. And one of the questions that Jared had there, and hopefully you can answer, is describe the tools and techniques that you have used to keep a team positive and engaged in a busy and demanding client-faced environment, particularly when recruitment continues to pose a significant challenge due to shortage of skilled resource. I think there's not a business here that wouldn't say it can be challenging just to get really great people. Just so, any tips there that you can share with Jared and indeed everyone on the call this morning?
Excellent. Me and Yvonne have promised that Yvonne's going to ask the question fast and I'm going to answer it very fast. Is that okay? So if you type in a long question, I'm going to be open with you folks, we won't get to it. But if you ask a concise question, we'll get an answer really quickly. So on that question, Yvonne, very quickly, I would say write out a plan for motivating your team. Tip number 1. Tip number 2, do regular one-on-ones with your team. Tip number 3, if there's issues and conflict in your team, sit down and understand those in small doses. In other words, don't have big conversations about all the issues. Sit down on one-on-ones and try and understand them one-on-ones. And the last tip is, as you head towards the end of the year, find stuff to celebrate. Bring your team out for a brilliant Christmas party. Celebrate the big positives during the year, even if you haven't hit all your financial goals. Celebrate the positives and make sure when you come back after the holidays that you've got a Kickstarter session at the start of next year. That's my answer nice and quickly. I'm going to go to Yvonne for the next question.
Yes, indeed. Then we've got another one here from Fergal. Fergal is Director at Insight Solutions here in Tyrone as well. What did you learn from your experience of playing under strong and influential leaders that you've brought into your own business?
We had a great team with leaders at all levels, right throughout the team. It took us probably 5 or 6 years to build those into strong, resilient, authentic, well-rounded leaders. I guess our business stands for leadership, so we're now developing leaders all around the world. So in essence, we brought what we've learned in the sports pitch, we brought into our business, and now we're working with some of the biggest companies in the world. But also, it's not just about sport. It's about what we learned from our friends and colleagues in the philanthropy world. Last night, I was speaking to my friend in Haiti for 20 minutes late last night. He runs a charity out of Haiti. He's a very successful actor, comedian, and personality in Haiti. And now his ambition is to make an impact on over 1 million children's lives positively. And McNulty partner with them on what we call McNulty Impact to try and inspire millions of children like this who don't have mums or dads, don't have homes, maybe live on the streets of places like Port-au-Prince. So I think one of the big messages when we're talking about growing a business, as you alluded to earlier, Yvonne, is a sense of purpose. And when I connect in with somebody like that, I'm not so concerned about P&L. Or I'm not so concerned that yesterday wasn't a great meeting on sales, or last week we lost a key team member, or the week before we lost a key contract. If we stay aligned on purpose as entrepreneurs, as owner managers, it gives us that motivation, that intrinsic motivation. So can I ask, as Yvonne's getting ready for the next question, can everybody type into the chat box, what's your role? Are you the CEO? Are you the founder? If you're perhaps part of Plan A and I, are you the director? Let me and Yvonne know the specific roles that everybody has. There's somebody in operations, somebody, Ursula is hiring staff. Ursula, my heart goes out to you. It's a big, big challenge as we speak. We've got a marketing manager, company director coming in from Shawneen, a graduate entry level employee. Wow, Anya, you've got the world literally at your feet. Or should I say you've got the world and let's say every opportunity outside of the world at your feet, because we'll talk about that later about one of my friends who's going to space with his startup.
Fantastic. Yeah, that sounds absolutely fascinating there, you know, and that's really somebody who's just pushing the boundaries, obviously set clear goals for himself, and you know, and is just really literally going for the stars. So I know you're going to share a little bit more about that later on. And I think, you know, a lot of themes running through here I'm seeing around change. How do you lead through change? You know, and I suppose even in my own experience, I'm just thinking, you know, a lot of it is just, I think, and you'll come in here, but like, be clear about what it is that you want to change, communicate, and communicate again. I think key in many times when people are leading through change is that people feel on the sidelines, let's say, and not really quite
We've got technology issues. I hope it is working. If you can, no problem.
What's going on there? Not sure, did you pick up all of that there, Enza?
Yeah, you cut off just towards the end, but everything's good. I'm just reading out what's come through the chat box. Self-employed husband and wife team. Why, Ursula? That's lovely to hear, Ursula. Donna's coming through, working in a community group. Lovely to hear, Donna. My colleague, Jacques Bourgeois, you can follow him on Instagram. Caco's Kids. We'll send some of these links right through the chat. My colleague, Liam, is in studio. We'll help you with that. And I also see Martina Jordan is a soul trader. Martina, tell us more detail. Soul trader doing what? One woman band. So jack of all trades. Brona, we absolutely resonate with that, Yvonne, can't we?
Yeah, no, absolutely there, you know, and particularly even myself, I worked in corporate life for many years there, and then made the changes 10 years ago to working for myself, and that is a big shift. It's a mindset shift. It's you know, you're definitely trying to, you know, I suppose for me at the time I was thinking, what's my why? Why was I making that change? Why did I need to do that in my life? A lot of it was around kind of that work life work thing and what my priorities were. And I think all on our journey through our careers, we're all going to shift at times, and that's okay, you know, from different stages to sort of rising up the ladder to maybe pausing for a while and just taking a different route. So, you know, Brona, I think when you go to being that one woman or one person or one man band, you know, I think you have to become an expert in so many different things, whereas in the past you might have worked with, you know, teams. But the biggest thing for me would have been sort of getting up, getting out, building a network, connecting with people, surround yourself with people who really inspire you, you know, who light up, you know, hang out with the light bulbs, as they say, not the hoovers, you know, those that are really going to bring you forwards there, and what it is that you're doing on a daily basis there. And, you know, you'll have your daily jobs, but have that, you know, supportive network and surround that with you as well to kind of motivate and inspire you there, you know, because that's obviously a huge change. That's a personal change. I think, Enda, when we look at sort of change within a company, whether that's small, medium or large, you know, what would your sort of kind of tips, pointers be to help people navigate through that change? Earlier, I just mentioned the real importance of communication, and it's so fundamental, you know, from all levels that you're communicating on an ongoing basis. It's okay to communicate news that's not always positive, by the way. It's keeping people informed.
Yes, I see that lovely comments coming from Martina and lovely comments from Carmel. And by the way, thanks for the feedback that you're enjoying this session. Keep your feedback coming through. If you have emojis on your laptop at home or in your office or your home studio or in your enterprise center, use your emojis as well. Whatever technology you've got, please use it. You can see when I'm talking to you in the background, there's a video actually of Keko's kids in Port-au-Prince, the kids getting their Christmas presents last Christmas. And we're making a big donation to them for this Christmas to get the kids not only presents, but books and educational toys. I'll answer your question, Yvonne, about change. Folks, embrace change, dance with it. Great leaders and great entrepreneurs and great owner-managers actually embrace change. They know that change is actually a huge competitive advantage, but let's think about change as linked with progress. I'm going to use a Northern Ireland phrase here, any Egypt can change. Great business owners and managers, they create progress. And they choose what to change, what not to change, how to change, and how to cause change. So I'll give everybody in the audience 3 questions to think about as you go on a journey of growing your business or growing yourselves, because both of those are interconnected. I've learned that the hard way over the last 25 years. If you don't grow, your business isn't going to grow. So I'm going to ask my colleague Liam to type some of these key coaching points into the chat feature. Key coaching point number 1 is, if you don't grow, your business can't grow. And in that capacity with change, let's aim for change and progress. It's easy to change things. It's difficult to get progress in your business every day. If you get progress in your business every day, you're going to grow your business and you're going to grow yourself. One of our clients are Amazon, and you can be assured that they get growth every single day. In fact, I've got a little mantra called GSD. We'll type it in as we go. GSD, get stuff done. In your business up there in the north, get it done today. Make the call today, make the improvement today, get the progress done today. So rather than focusing on change, I'd focus on progress, get stuff done. Because anybody can talk about change, but we, as we grow our businesses north or south of the border, whether it's in, let's say, Ballymena, whether it's in Banbridge, or one of our clients currently is from Derry, but he's in Bangkok, transforming a business in Bangkok with 2,500 people in it. A young man called Mike Clancy from Derry. His father was the doctor of the team that won the All-Ireland in 1993. So you can search him on LinkedIn, send him a LinkedIn message if you want to link in with him. Mike Clancy, based in Bangkok, running JLL right across Thailand with 2,500 people. And linking into Yvonne's question, he hasn't changed the business. He's transformed the business to high performance. And you can summarize what McNulty do into those couple of words. We transform business into high performance. There's another question I believe coming through. I'll go to Yvonne, and then we'll give you we'll ground this in a little bit of a framework. Don't worry, folks, stay tuned. We will give you a framework. We want to go to Yvonne's told me she's going to ask those questions really fast, and I promise I'll answer even faster. Yvonne.
Yeah, so you mentioned Amazon there. How do you go from being an organization like yourselves and dealing with small businesses to now you have clients like Amazon, eBay, Intel, Meta, you name it. How do you do that?
I'll start back in Belfast. Here's Queen's University back in the day. I was the vice captain of the team. Jim Morrison was the captain. We basically work as co-captains in the team in the organisation. In the middle of this picture, you can probably see on my left-hand side a young young looking 65-year-old Desi Ryan from Derry, and he was fire department in New York City. And he taught us about leadership as well as Gaelic football. He taught us how to lead ourselves. He taught us how to be resilient. He taught us how to lead the team. So a lot of those skills we now bring into work with our clients. Early this morning, I spoke to Neil Morris, who's the head of Amazon Ireland. And believe it or not, they're building that organization on some of those similar leadership qualities. One of the leadership qualities, Yvonne, is get stuff done. Another one of the leadership qualities is invent and simplify. Another one of the leadership qualities, they actually, I'm not breaking any etiquette for folks online. You can look them up and they'll just send in this, if it's okay, leadership principles they talk about on Amazon, which is very much a bias for action. In Queen's, we had a bias for action. In Queen's, we had a philosophy. Invent and simplify. We didn't have sponsors ourselves, and the team was actually called Ardmac, was the team that sponsored us. So we had to go and sell to Ardmac that we would like a sponsor on our jersey. And God rest them, from County Tyrone, Cormac and Allen, the great Cormac and Allen, one of the greatest players arguably of the last 30 years. Cormac's father owned Ardmac and said that he'd sponsor the Queen's team a couple of €1,000. So in that, when we went to the Yvonne, we were learning about selling. We were learning about leadership, but we were also learning about selling. And what we said, to sell that story to them, we'd bring them along to a Queen's match. And of course, when we sat down with them as young students after the match and told them the story of Queen's, it was very easy for them to sign the check. So I've answered probably that question in a long way, Yvonne. Working with Amazon is actually easy if we get the fundamentals right. If we're customer obsessed, and that's one of their leadership principles, maybe for all the business up in the north, if we realize that if we're customer obsessed, then it's much easier to have our customers over a lifetime, not a customer for, let's say, Turex or Annie's Delights or Corey and I or Plan and I or Bassett's. If you only have the customer for a week, we're only going to get a certain margin or certain revenue from them. But if we have the customer for the next 10 years, my next big coaching point is that's going to help us have what's called CLV, customer lifetime value. So McNulty like to have customers for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years in some cases. We have customers, and I'm sure in your Microsoft world, Yvonne, and in your new world, outside the box, you know the importance of a customer lifetime value. What do you think, Yvonne?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like it's for me, it's all about building relationship, building that connection, being very clear what you can and can't do. I think it's really important to be honest and transparent in terms of everything that's been done. I'm a big believer in saying yes to things. If I look back over the years, I think yes, and I'll go figure. Most of the time, but if there's some things outside my skill set, then I just love tapping out into my network and just saying, you know, here, whether you're an expert in marketing, an expert in PR, here's an opportunity coming alongside there, you know, and but it's building that ongoing relationship that you dip in and out of. You know, you see and you watch that customer journey there, and you're there to be there, and it's in a support framework sometimes, and an execution or operations framework at other times. You know, when you talk there and about sort of being customer obsessed, when I think of, I managed, one of my roles for many years was leading global customer services organizations there. But to do and deliver that really well, you need really happy, really engaged team members. And one of the things, you know, when I was doing my sort of a bit of a background for our webinar here, you know, in your talks, you talk very much about unlocking potential, that everyone has the ability, whether it's a community, organization, a business, a person, we all have the ability to be extraordinary. You know, I was thinking a bit more about this last night. What would you say is the secret sauce becoming moving from ordinary to extraordinary? So, and just going back, you might have missed something that I said there. So we're talking about being customer success and that customer lifetime journey there as well. You know, it's paramount. You know, it's not a case that we should be just going and grabbing a customer. You know, it's all about building relationship and seeing what their challenges are. You know, if you're to ask yourself today, everyone on the call, what's your number one challenge in your business today? You know, write it down, and after today, make a point of doing something to go and get it addressed. It might be something quick, but that you're putting off, you're procrastinating, it's like eat your frog, just go get stuff done, as Enda's just shared. But going back to that customer obsessed piece, Enda, there, you can't be customer obsessed if you don't have people behind the scenes who just really enjoy what they're doing, who love what their job is. And one of the things, I really enjoy is your philosophy around, everybody, no matter at a business level, a personal level, community level, can be extraordinary. So the question I'd ask is, what do you think the secret sauce is to move from sort of ordinary to extraordinary? And what would you say to anybody online here? If you're somebody managing staff, how do you unlock their potential?
Okay, I love the question. Sorry about the technical hitches, folks. Thank you for staying tuned. I see we've got exactly 38 minutes gone, so we're going to get through a lot of questions and answers over the next 20 minutes. Very quickly on ordinary to extraordinary, let's say habits, daily habits. For everybody online, there's an amazing book called Atomic Habits. That book is a game changer in terms of understanding how to grow, how to develop, how to improve. That's the first thing I would say. The second thing I would say is in terms of motivating your team, I would say getting your team to understand the importance of their daily habits and the cumulative effect of that over a quarter, over a half year, over a full year. So really understanding the impact of daily habits. Does that make sense, Yvonne?
Yeah, no, absolutely. There, funny, it's one of my kind of top 5 books there. We'll come to your own book in a minute there, but I think that concept of that consistency there, of making the things happen. And yes, of course, there's things that we do on a daily basis, that are habitual. We get up and we have our shower and we have our breakfast and that. But it's those little things that can shift you that 1% in terms of your own just routines in your day that just. And I suppose building on that, that's absolutely key. Anything else there in sort of unlocking that potential? Because sometimes, yourself, and the people are busy, managers can be busy, leaders are busy, but I think earlier on you touched on the one-to-ones. I think it's really important if you're somebody responsible for people, whether it's in an organization, in a community group, it's really important to take that sort of that human time, that downtime to just literally, how are you? How are things going?
Yes, quick advice. Quick advice on that, Yvonne. Get a mentor. I'm going to be very concise. Get a mentor. This is a lady that I mentor. She's the head of sales and marketing for the Galway Races. I met her about 8 years ago. She was running the G Hotel in Galway. Since then, she has won award after award in terms of excelling as a sales and marketing guru. So a very quick answer is get a mentor. Everybody else, keep your questions coming in, folks, and we'll keep responding. The book you referred to, Donna, in the chat box is Atomic Habits. It is a game-changing book to help you with habits. So we'll keep going with the questions. Yvonne, sorry for cutting across you. We'll keep rolling. We've only 20 minutes left.
Yeah, no, absolutely there. And it brings me, it's quite, one thing actually, you're talking about that lady who's been very successful. I just want to give a shout out to Sandra Quinn, who's on our call there. Sandra is the first ever female in Northern Ireland to gain her cybersecurity advisor credential. So well done. Good job. Hopefully there'll be a lot more following. So just to your book, here's another book. Don't know if any of you have seen it so far, but if you haven't, go out and get it, Commit to Lead. So this is Enda's second book, and it's quite timely, Enda, because there was also a question from Orla Rafferty. Orla is an executive coach and HR consultant. What led up to or inspired you to write your first book called Commit? And did you know that you had a second book in you at the time? And how long did it take you to write this one?
Yeah, hopefully we have 10 books in us and more.
Right.
And we'll keep writing books as long as we keep inspiring people around the world. Again, you mentioned purpose at the start, Yvonne. Our purpose is to help people unlock their potential in sport, in business, in community, and in philanthropy around the world. So we'll be creating loads of books, podcasts, films, events, shows all around the world. We'll continue to do that over the next 20 years, please God, like the last 20 years. What inspired me to write the book was actually the people we work with every day. The people that have inspired us actually nudged us and said we should really write a book and capture these stories. Great salespeople are great storytellers. And the book is a brilliant way of telling stories about business leaders. It's a brilliant way of telling stories about entrepreneurs. It's a brilliant way of telling stories about sports leaders. It's a great way of telling stories about people that have been formative in terms of Northern Ireland to make peace happen. And a book is a brilliant way, I think, to capture the idea of key principles, whether that's from Queen's University or whether that's in global companies like we alluded to earlier on, or whether that's in charities that we're heavily involved with. The Goal charity make an impact in something like 100 million people's lives around the world. So the book, in essence, allows us to capture our thoughts in a really practical way to inspire entrepreneurs, owners, managers to be the best versions of themselves.
Okay, fantastic there. And in the book, for anyone who hasn't seen it yet, I love the way you focus. It's in two parts, essentially. It's leading with self and then leading with others. And the first part is, if you don't look after yourself, if you don't invest in yourself, with your own purpose, your self-awareness, that optimism, all of that side of things, and empathy, you cannot invest in others, delivering that leadership, that communication, that collaboration piece. You've worked with some of the greats, at the sporting arena. You take the likes of Rory Best and Joe Schmidt. They've had great times, but they also, they've had their moments. What were the one or two kind of nuggets you felt were the ones that kind of shifted them, inspired them when they were having a rough day? So there's lots of people on the call this morning came in, they probably looked at their huge to-do list this morning and said, and they came on to join us for an hour this morning just to kind of hear those words of wisdom. What are those things that sometimes just make that little switch to go, you know what, I'm going to sort of put my shoulders back, head up, and just push on here, there. Tell us a little bit about, some of those moments.
Well, if I can, actually, there's a little impromptu thing I might do for the audience. We've just got an owner-manager of a company in Northern Ireland who runs a very successful coffee chain called Singe and Burn. If I can get my colleagues, he might come in before the end of the session. I'll ask my colleague Jenna to cue him. He might come in for a few minutes. So he's scaled the business north and south of the border, a small business. So he might come in, I might do 3 or 4 minutes of a fireside chat with him towards the end.
Yeah.
But come back to your question about the Rory Best. Well, Rory Best is from Armagh. He's also from a farming family, very successful farming family, the best there in Points Pass. I think what strikes me with Rory Best, Yvonne, is his humility. Pretty important in any business around the world. His work ethic and his mastery when he was playing, his mastery of the basics. I think sometimes we're running so fast, Yvonne, that we don't get a chance to practice the basics. And having spent a lot of time in the north, obviously, my whole life, a lot of time in Belfast, a lot of time recently I was up on Banbridge, I was in the Outlet Centre, we're meeting and greeting lots of business owners and leaders, in particular in the scale-up world in the north. And sometimes they ask me for loads of advice, as you say, secret sauce, and I say, no secret sauce. I say, brilliant basics.
Yes. Yeah.
Rory Best and the fellas in Ireland, obviously, one of the things that we've learned most from them, from this environment, is getting the basics right. Get the basics unbelievably good in your business. So what are the basics of business? The basics of business is know your product inside out. The basics in business are unbelievably strong client or customer relations. The basics in business is your marketing, get it really strong. Not loads of bells and whistles, get the basics down. The basics in business have an unbelievably strong financial, let's say, management system. Make sure you're very tight on your financial management. It took me about 7 years of graft to figure that out. And we now get support from businesses in Northern Ireland on our financial management. I called 2 of them out. One is Henry Murray, based in Lurgan, and the other is FPM, based in Uri. Both those businesses give us significant help on the financial, let's say, governance of our business. It took me 7 years, Yvonne, to realize all the mistakes of what happens if you don't have your tax clearance cert. What happens if you don't have your documentation in place in terms of your client documentation and so on your payment mechanisms. So to be honest with you, we've learned the hard way about getting the basics right. 20 years since we founded our business, Yvonne, really openly, and my colleague Jenna Brannock is in studio here, she'll agree with it. We're still working on getting those basics right.
Sure.
We're still having to double down on those basics, and we'll never stop on the basics. We've got a mentality, basics first, get the basics right, and then we build the extravagant stuff and the extraordinary stuff. We believe in getting the basics extraordinary, and the other stuff then becomes possible. Even going to space is possible.
No, fantastic there. So, Anna, we've just under 15 minutes left here. Thank you for everyone who's sending in these questions. Keep them coming in here. There was one question around some great podcasts that you'd recommend there. I'd equally add to that any great books there. And encourage every of you on the call. All of you will have books that have inspired you. Please put them into the chat there so that you can share it with everyone there. So great podcasts and great books there. Top number one sort of book for you and podcast for you, and you'd like to share with everyone?
Well, I'm delighted, and as you know, one of the key things of McNulty is surprise and delight your customers. I'm delighted to bring a business owner in the studio. His name is Damien Garvey. He runs a business called Singe and Burn. How many different coffee shops you got north and south of the border?
We have 17 sites at the minute, yeah. Actually, I'm one of them in Dungannon.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm meeting a friend for breakfast in the morning there, yeah.
Great to hear, Hope we look after you well.
So me and Damien will co-answer some questions here because
that would be fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. Businesses. So what I've asked is a quick recap. Top number one book in your sort of
number one book over to you. Number one book.
Good to Great.
Good to Great.
Yeah, a great one there.
My number one book is probably that Atomic Habits. It'll change your life. It'll change your life if you read it 3 times and put it into practice.
Yes, absolutely.
I go to Damien for a question. Yeah. Damien, what's the biggest challenge you've had in scaling a business north and south of the border?
Is letting go, I suppose, allowing yourself to give other people the opportunity to take the reins. So trying to manage too many things at the same time has been the biggest challenge for us, definitely.
Building a brand must be the biggest challenge of building a brand. Singe and Burn, very, very famous brand.
Like any other brand, I imagine it's consistency. So your clients get the same brand experience every time they come in, and that's a day-to-day challenge in the coffee business. It's something that's kind of, and particularly out of COVID and everything that's happening now, is very much that consistency, and that's through training and again freedom, understanding the people, the guys understanding what they do, what the brand experience is that they're there to offer. That's the biggest challenge.
Some of the ladies online and some of the gentlemen online are one woman band or one man band. What advice would you have for them over the next 12 months?
Oh, good question. And I suppose for me, so myself and my brother have been in business over 20 years in the same business, and it's about resilience. I was chatting to the guys outside about a flood we had in Uri. Our shop in Uri completely destroyed 2 weeks ago. Talking to another business person in Carlingford, their hotel closed, and it's about resilience. The dark clouds come week in, week out, and it's about being resilient enough to think, okay, well, how do I make this a positive thing? How do I take a step back, a step sideways, and keep going? And that's probably the biggest thing you can offer anybody.
I love it, and we agree with that. I think me and Yvonne are on the same page there. On the resilience one, I'm going to give a top tip to be more resilient. I'm going to get Yvonne to give a top tip to be more resilient in business, and I'm going to get Damien to give a top tip. Is that okay? So to give both folks a chance to think about it, I'll go first. The number one top tip to be resilient is be tight with your team and your family. The research is very clear in resilience. The closer you are to your team and your family, the more resilient you are without any extra effort. It just makes you naturally resilient. I go to Damien for next top tip.
Well, I'm a really good friend. He's an older lady, and she would always say to me, everything's going to be okay. Just as long as you understand that everything is going to be okay, and then it's being able to believe that in yourself and know that, okay, this feels like the end of the world, it feels like a disaster, but it will be okay. The sun will come up tomorrow. We'll all get on tomorrow. So that for me is believe in yourself that everything will be okay tomorrow.
So even when your business in Uri was underwater, 1 foot underwater in Singe and Burn, just off the canal there, did you say to your team everything will be okay? Or what did you say that day?
No, it's you don't sleep that night, but you wake up the next morning and it's the first thing in your head, and you think to yourself, it's okay, everything will be okay, and then you go in with a positive attitude to your team and say, okay guys, what can we do now to fix it? Well,
I love the positive attitude and mindset coming through. If you like what's coming through in the chat box, please give us your feedback real time. Yvonne, over to you for the next top tip.
Yeah, no, I think that, look, there's not a person here today that wouldn't, doesn't navigate rough waters at times there, literally for you, Damien, there recently. I think the big thing is, look, it's this too will pass. Whatever difficulties you're going to tomorrow will be better. And if it's not, you will steer your ship in a better direction. I think positivity is key, remaining focused, taking a deep breath. You're alive. As long as everyone is safe and well, everything is generally sortable after that there. I think that's really, really important to remember, and kind of just be, if you're a leader in any entity, you have to be their North Star. You have to provide that moral sort of direct compass and direction for people there. But, what I would say is be real with people as well. If things aren't great, people will see through that as well. It's okay to say, you know what, this isn't great, but it will get better. So I think that's big there as well. Some, other recommendations coming through. Podcast recommendations, gentlemen, any one or two
Yes.
stand out for you?
I'll give you two. One's called Commit by Andy McNulty. The other one was called Rise Higher by Andy McNulty. And you never know, in the near future, we might even interview Damien Garvey in the new Singe and Burn at Blanchardstown. The rumour is, maybe it's fake news, but there's a really cool Singe and Burn opening up in Blanchardstown. Tell your family, tell your mothers, your aunts, your uncles. Let's all help each other grow each other's businesses. There's a phrase called hustle on behalf of your customers. We'll write that into the chat box there. Let's all get great at hustling on each other's behalf to help each other grow businesses. Because it's much easier for me to hustle for Damien than it is actually sometimes to hustle for myself. Does that make sense to everybody? Because in the North, we're not that good at sharing our own good news stories. And if we are, people immediately cut you off. They're a bit jealous. So in my experience, it's much better to share good news stories about the people you highly respect. As I say, like Singe and Burn, like the business that Yvonne's running, Outside the Box, I believe it's called, Yvonne.
Yeah, Out of the Box Consulting.
Out of the Box Consulting.
Yes, no, that's it. But look, we have, we have fabulous people in Northern Ireland there. I've got Mark coming on. Have you any key points to focus on to build resilience to problem solving for staff? Our business has massive growth. Well done, Mark. That's fantastic. But so has the challenges for each staff member. So kind of goes back to that scaling conversation as well and tapping into resilience there.
Yes, so in the scaling, one of the big things that maybe sometimes overthought or let's say not considered well enough is processes and systems. Get the process and systems codified. It makes life easy for everybody. Spend time every week, carve out time every single week on process and system documentation. I'll give you a quick story there. One of my friends runs a cybersecurity company out in New York City that was recently acquired for multi-millions dollars. And the company that acquired it said to him that one of the key reasons they acquired the company was everything was documented, all processes, all systems were all documented and codified, which meant it was much easier for them to acquire the company. They said if it wasn't documented and wasn't systemized, they couldn't have acquired the company. It didn't matter how good he was, didn't matter how good the client portfolio was, didn't matter how good the, let's say the P&L was, because they had to buy a fully systemized and a fully processed system. Next question, over to Yvonne.
Yeah, no, I think again, just coming back to I think really we're just down to the last few minutes here, and if there's any one final question anyone would like to send through, from my point of view, we've got, like in your book you actually state, knowing the path's not the same as actually walking the path, and I think it's really important today, when you end this call, just take those few minutes to actually write down for yourself, what are those one or two things that are takeaway that you're going to act upon, that you're going to execute, and then if you're to think of two things for people to focus on how to manage themselves when adapting change in their business and leading teams through that, what would you say they should be?
And I know Damien will give two or three, and then I know Yvonne will give two or three, but we'll try and give everybody time to write these down, so we'll slow down for a second. Is that what the great Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman spoke about, thinking fast and slow? So it's slow everybody down. If you're sitting in a nice coffee shop there in Bangor, in Ballymena, maybe Banbridge, maybe you're sitting at home, perhaps you're sitting in Invest NI, or maybe you're sitting in the enterprise offices there in Mid-Ulster. We're going to give you 3 or 4 top tips in terms of helping yourself navigate through challenging times. Number 1, make sure you know your purpose. If you know your purpose in business and life, it's much easier to motivate it. So know your purpose, spend time reflecting on that, spend time getting coaching on that, spend time getting mentoring on that. And if you can tandem your purpose and your business purpose, I can tell you your motivation will be 10x more than most people. So know your purpose and ideally align that with your business purpose, whether that's selling, let's say, lovely croissants, or whether that's selling cybersecurity. Know your purpose and know your company purpose. Number 1 big takeaway. Number 2 takeaway is surround yourself with great people. The gentleman on my left-hand side for many years now, our family have respected him as a business owner and leader and manager. I know if I have an issue, I can run it by him, and if he has an issue, he can run it by me. We'll support each other on our business growth. Surround yourself with great people. He's far better than me in lots of ways, and I hope I'm a little bit better than Damien in some ways. Number 2. Number 3 for everybody today, going to absolutely implore you to have a plan for your own growth. Because if you grow personally, then you're almost like a boat that rises with the tide. You're going to raise all ships, but you have to grow first. You can't expect other people around you to grow. You have to grow first if you're a business owner, leader in scale-up world, or maybe in the one-man band or one-woman band. There's three. And if I leave you with a fourth, I'm actually going to tie in Damien's, and I'm going to tie in the theme of this overall week. You have to be adaptable. Either you adapt or you adopt, or you will die as a business. And unfortunately, most businesses die in the first 5 years. I'm going to say that again. Either you adapt or you adopt, or you will die as a business. So let's make sure not only do we survive as a business, let's make sure we thrive as a business north and south of the border, no matter where you're based all around the world. I'll pass to Damien for his top tips.
Well, I'm going to give you two, and actually ones that I've learned from Enda, maybe three. The first one would be just in the last couple of weeks, there's a number of things that we chatted about have come as challenges. And if you don't keep your own physical and mental health in check, it's very hard to lead anybody else. So something Enda's told me is first look after yourself. So as a leader in any business, whether it's a one-man band or a bigger business, you need to make sure that your head is right. And I have learned over the years the best way to do that is to make sure you're physically active, and physically you're in a place that we could all be fitter, but at least you're maintaining some level of consistency. And then I suppose in terms of resilience and leadership, adaptability, it's being the three things, the three C's, being calm when you're dealing with people, whether it's customers or staff or challenges, being consistent with your team, so you're constantly as consistent as you can be, and then being compassionate, ensure that you're listening to people, you're understanding with empathy what they're really telling you, not what you want to hear when they're talking to you. Those would be the three for me. And again, I've learned a lot of that from Enda.
We should hire you in the McNulty. Over to you, Yvonne. What's your top three?
Yeah, so you'd mentioned their purpose or mission. I would be saying make sure alongside your mission, you're very clear on your vision, your company, you're very clear on your values, what your own personal values are and what your company values are. Hire people there who align to the values that you want in your business, and your business will flow so much further. With much of your values defined, create a great and nurture and invest in maintaining a great culture in your organization, because when things go off the scale, whether it's through massive growth or whether it's through tough times, when you all come back and tap into why you're there, where you're pointing forward, even if you're disabled for a period of time and kind of getting you on your journey there, you'll get back on the bus there and you'll kind of keep moving forward. So keep that strong culture going there. And the final bit really is about communicate it open, early and often with people there, and in an honest way, and lead your teams through that change and show your values, live your values there.
Totally agree. Thank you so much, Yvonne. Can I retype in your feedback into the chat box just as we draw this session to a close up there in mid-Ulster? It's good that we've got two Ulster men here in studio in Dublin, and we've got one Ulster lady obviously online in studio with Yvonne. Can you give us your feedback through the chat box so we know how we're getting on?
Yeah, and whilst we're doing that, I want to just give a shout out to some people here. We have got Tricia on from Waterford. Welcome, Tricia, fabulous to have you with us. To Gemma Overend of the Creative Business Club, an online space for small businesses to connect, gain support and accountability. So there's a new one for your black book there as well, everyone. I think it's really important when people are working in small business that they get that opportunity. I like the fact it's connecting, but also being accountable, holding yourselves to account, and earlier on you talked about having a mentor there. I think it's like having that accountability partner as well. There's someone who will say, this is what I committed to, these are my goals, how have you done? And you do it in a kind, caring way there.
Absolutely.
Whilst we're doing that, just a big thank you to Mid-Ulster District Council, who've obviously organised this, and the team behind it, Denise and Claire and Kiva and all of the team behind that there. Any final feedback coming through from anyone there?
See it come through in the chat box there. You've all made lovely comments. Thank you so much. Great session come through from Marion, from Martina. This has been affirming. Thank you, Martina. Thanks for this session. Great tips from Michelle Murphy. Carmel, thank you. Very helpful session. Just good to take an hour out and hear this. We would love you to put stuff into practice if you can. I love the three things that Damien spoke about: that calm, that sense of being compassionate, that consistency. Love all the positive comments through here. Great advice from Michelle and great session. Thank you from Anya. Thank you so much, Anya. Pam, thank you. And Brona, thanks for attending. I give one call to action to Damien for people as they grow. I'll have one call to action and I'll go to Yvonne to the last word. We'll start with Sinja and Burn. Damien.
The call to action is back to what we talked about before. It's about great people, and the question we had earlier about how do you manage exponential growth. There's a Packard's law, it's called. One of the founders of Hewlett Packard. Your biggest constraint is being able to attract the right people. So that is the biggest constraint in growth. So it's all about finding and managing and connecting with good people like Enda, like Yvonne, like the people involved.
Wow, that's pretty powerful. Let's write that down, everybody, in your home studio, Packard's Law. And what I would say is, I go back to what Damien said earlier on, first lead yourself. If you lead yourself, you can navigate up the mountains in business, in life, but you have to lead yourself first. Yvonne?
Yeah, no, that's it. At the beginning of the call, I asked everyone to tap into, are you in green, amber, red? Just to yourselves, just write down your notebook, where are you still feeling, and what are those things now that you're going to go do to move yourself, from position if you need, you feel that a shift there. Look, there's great supports out there. There are great people. I think, get their mentors, reach out for support, ask for help. People are only willing to do that. Challenge yourself as well. It's not that we think of challenges just as the challenges that are in our business. Challenge yourself. Ask your team for feedback. Be open and honest to getting it. Be humble. And it's amazing, when you do that, you open yourself up to, to getting really insightful advice. Ask your customers for feedback there as well. So, go back to the whole theme of the week: challenge, adapt, and succeed. And we wish you all the very best, in your journey there. And we thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day. For anybody, I'm just getting asked, Anya's asking, where's the book available to buy? I know it's there's a number of online sources there, obviously. Amazon there, but give a shout out there as well as many other different sources. And I think, some other books that were mentioned as well. To Start With Why, Simon Sinek. Well, we didn't get to them, but they kind of come in some feedback. Start With Why, Simon Sinek there. Flip It from Michael Heppel as well. So I'll pop them here in the chat box. So they're just other sources. And this is, I suppose, we're coming together, forums like this coming together. It's a real great opportunity to learn and share with each other as well, because everyone's on the same journey here. So enjoy your day, and thank you so much again. You will receive a survey, so we would really appreciate you taking a moment just to complete that as well. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you so much, Yvonne. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time.
And thank you, Damien.
Thank you so much,
Yvonne.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.